Hey YouTube, this is episode number 8. Yes, I'm in Saigon and this is all about storytelling and how stories can help you pimp and pump up your presentations. So come along for the ride. Yes, we are moving. Boom! Inner lift going to the roof of the Caravel Hotel, a very iconic place to go for drinks and enjoy a day in Saigon. Look at this. I don't know whether you can hear the music, but it's pumping in the background. Yes, I've moved my butt downtown. I'm sitting on the top of the Caravel Hotel in Saigon. The Caravel has a long history. It's an old hotel, and it was made famous during the war, in particular among journalists. They would come to the rooftop and they'll be standing here with the microphones recording news for their news channels back in the US and Europe. Now, I'm not here to talk about the war. I'm here to talk about storytelling and why I encourage you to bring more stories to work when you want to make a point. So here we go. 3 things. Number 1. Any story will take you on a journey, moving from A to B, up a mountain, across the sea, through the valley of death. You know what I mean. Take any movie, the latest Star Wars, take any book, any play in the theater. They move you from A to B, and between those 2 points, stuff happens, and that's what makes the story interesting. So we love journeys, we love to go along, follow the ride. It's exciting. Number 2, stories make you feel. Stories might make you feel happy, you might feel angry, you might feel disgust, you might be surprised, you might feel joy. But there are feelings, and the more you feel, the more you are likely to remember the story. And because of that, point number 3, stories are more memorable. Yes, we don't forget them when we walk out of the room. If you told a good story, they will stick. But your Excel sheet, your charts, your process are not that memorable. Instead, use the story. So in summary, 3 reasons why you want to find stories from your life and share them at work. Number 1, they take you on a journey. Number 2, they make you feel. And number 3, they're easier to remember. So for those three reasons, I will encourage you to bring stories. Now let me show you how you find those stories. Good morning, Saigon. It's 6:30 a.m. on a Sunday morning. Yes, I'm up early because I want to get out and get some video done before the rest of this city wakes up. This is my morning face. No makeup, pretty as always, ready to go. No more talking, let's start walking. Boom! So much for beating the crowds. I'm not the only one who had an idea of getting up early to get in early. Ah, look at that. That's like 1 million people. Holy shit. Okay, plan B. It's 7:30. Where do they come from? Yes! I got here before the kids. Let's do this before they arrive. Behind me you see a Russian tank that was used in the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War lasted for decades and finished or ended in 1975, where Vietnam regained their independence. Now, this is not a talk about war, but why do I talk about war? Because in any war there are many, many stories. Similar to your company, similar to your department, similar to your own life. You have many stories, and I'm going to show you today how you can take those stories, use them at work to create a bigger impact the next time you do a presentation where you want to make an important point. Let's do this. I'm standing in front of an American fighter jet that was also used in the Vietnam War. Now, why all this talk about war, you might ask? Let me explain. Any war has 4 types of stories. Stories of triumph, stories of tragedy, stories of tension, and stories of transition. Your company, your team, and not least you, have the same 4 types of stories. And today I'm going to help you find those stories so you can bring them to work and use them next time you want to make a point in a presentation. If you want to know more about the Vietnam War, I'll suggest you check out the recent documentary made by the American filmmaker Ken Burns. It's a phenomenal documentary. Yes, it's dramatic. Yes, it's real. Yes, a lot of people die, but we can also learn a lot. So check it out if you are interested. Let's move on. Yes, I'm still downtown Saigon. It's noisy, it's crowded, and it's really hot. I promised to show you the 4-bucket filter and how you can apply it to your own life. I will. We will make a move so we can look at triumph, tragedy, tension, and transition. Let's do that. Before we do, that is the Hotel Continental, another famous landmark in Saigon. Let's move. Let's talk about the 4 buckets and how they can apply to your life. So we have triumph, tragedy, tension, and transition. Let's start with triumph. So if you look at work, stories of triumph are stories where you win, stories of success. You might have landed a new client, you might have increased your market share, you might have taken over a competitor. You might have had a year where you made the most money ever. Winning. Now, if you look at your own life, winning could be you got your first degree, you landed your first job, you found your spouse, or maybe you moved into your first house. Places where you win. It could also be sports. A lot of people are doing sports. Winning a medal or just completing a big race could be success. What stories do you have of success in your life? Second category, tragedy. Yes, these are not happy stories. So if you look at work, you're looking for stories of loss, of regret. You might have had a year where you lost your 2 biggest clients. You might have had a year where you didn't make any money. You might have lost some of your key people to the competition. Think about work where you've had events that didn't go your way. Looking back at your own life, it might be a breakup. Someone close to you left your life and it was sad. You might have had an accident doing sports or being in traffic, or you might simply have been fired. Think about these stories that you have and how you could use them, because every time we go through something in life, we learn something, and that learning point can be relevant to something you experience at work, a point you want to make. Stories of tension, category number 3. You know what I'm talking about. You wake up, you look at that next to you, that's your phone, and the person next to you is your spouse. Do I go for my phone? Do I go for my spouse? You go to work. Do you sit down and read your emails, or do you spend time with your team? Afternoon, you have a meeting. Should we launch product A or should we launch product B? Should we cut cost or should we put more money into investing in a better service to our customers? Every day we make choices, and every choice we make, there's tension. And we learn from that decision-making process. We learn from that, making that point and making that choice, and you can use those stories to illustrate points about decision making and tension at work. Stories of transition are stories of movement. We move from A to B. At work, it might be a simple thing as you have moved office from A to B. It might be that you have installed a new system that has revolutionized the way you work. You might have introduced a new organization, a new structure. That is all change. That is all transition. If you look at your private life, it might be going from school to your first job, or going from single to being married, going from staying at home with your parents to your first apartment. Every time there's a transition, every time there's a move, and we can learn from those moves and we can share those points at work when we want to make a point. Now, I encourage you to use this 4-bucket structure, filter your own life, find stories from work, find stories from outside of work that you can use when you present, when you want to make a point at work. So take a piece of paper, create 4 buckets: triumph, tragedy, tension and transition. Brain dump, just put down any story you can think of from when you were young to where you are now. Just filter it, just put them down there, and then you pick three stories where you go, yes, these stories are solid, yes, these stories have points that I want to make at work, whether it's related to teamwork, success, winning, overcoming an obstacle, whatever point you want to make, bring those stories to work and start telling them at the right occasion. I can assure you, when you start telling stories, personal stories, people are going to look at you in a different way. It's no longer just about Excel, numbers, stuff that doesn't have a lot of soul. It's a real person with a real story. Yes, you will win more hearts and minds. Let's wrap this up. First of all, full disclosure, I did not invent the 4-bucket filter: triumph, tragedy, tension, and transition. I borrowed it from a great book called Stories for Work by author Gabriel Doland, linked below. Go check it out, it's my favorite book on storytelling. I have also added a couple of other books on storytelling that you might want to check out if you want to get more serious about telling stories at work. I would also suggest you check out the one-page story guide that I've created to help you tell stories. It gives you more details on the flow, how you tell the story, how you break it down. There are more videos on my YouTube channel around storytelling that will go into more detail. Again, check them out if you want to tell more stories. I hope this video was useful. I encourage you to include stories next time you make a presentation, next time you go to a meeting and you want to make a point. Find a story that you can tell that has the point that you want to make. Step up, make it happen. We need more presentations that kick ass and have a bigger impact. You can do that. Now, before we leave, some people ask me, why do you go to Saigon? You live in Hong Kong, you're from Denmark. What's the point of Saigon? Now, what you don't know is that I actually used to work in Saigon. Wow, fuck. Ah! Fuck me. Bloody hell. What just happened? I was attacked by the sprinkler system. Yes, there's this Vietnamese dude walking around the park and he saw me and he turned it on and he didn't give me any warning. So I'm sitting there shooting video and suddenly it goes boom. Yes, my bag is soaked, my camera is not, and that's the most important thing. So let me tell you why it's Saigon. Yes, I used to work here in the 90s, and the funny thing is, this is January 2018. I arrived in Saigon in 93, January. It's exactly 25 years ago. So yes, it's my anniversary. Why do I keep coming back? Love the country, love the people, and I come back and I work with people here. I mentor young entrepreneurs, and that's exciting. If you haven't been to Vietnam, worth checking out. I don't get paid, just love the place. Check it out. I'm Tomas Bay, also known as Coach Bay. This is the end of the video. I'm gonna check out. It's time to go back to Hong Kong. I hope you like, I hope you subscribe. I hope you're back for another video next week where we will be talking about data and numbers and how you can make those come alive in a presentation. Stay tuned, say no to crappy PowerPoints, fight for what is right. Get up, do better presentations. You deserve it, your audience deserve it. Let's make this world a better place. Peace. I'm standing in front of an old jet, an old fighter from the American War. No, it's not the American War, fuck this.